Heartwarming moment. Single mother rejected at checkout, then a millionaire reveals an incredible secret. Lily stood in the grocery store, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead as she gripped her shopping cart tightly. It was Saturday, and despite the hustle of the crowds, her heart pounded louder than the bustling noise around her. With each item in her cart, a loaf of bread, cereal, frozen veggies, she felt the weight of her budget pressing down on her shoulders. 7-year-old Mia, her vivid imagination splashing the mundane with color, bounced on her heels, eager for breakfast pancakes that would soon turn into pirate ships or princess castles, depending on her mood. As she approached the checkout line, a sense of hope flickered inside her. She had done it. She had managed to scrape together enough this week. But then, as the cashier rang up her modest haul, Lily's heart sank. Declined. The word echoed in her ears like a cruel taunt. She could feel the eyes of the waiting customers burning into her skin, whispers flitting through the air like biting gnats. Panic fluttered in her stomach, and she fought back tears while contemplating leaving her groceries behind. What would she tell Mia? Just as despair threatened to suffocate her, a man stepped forward. Clad in a tailored suit, he wore a confident smile that could light up the room. "I've got this," he said, waving his hand dismissively. He paid for her groceries, and for a moment, it felt like the clouds had split open, showering her with unexpected sunshine. But mixed with the gratitude was a growing irritation. She hated the pity that seemed to accompany his generosity, a pity she felt deep in her gut. "Why would you do that?" Lily's voice came out sharper than she intended, cutting through the buzz of the store. David, the man in the suit, raised an eyebrow. "You need help," he replied, surprised by her response. The tension crackled, filling the space around them with unspoken truths. What started as an unplanned act of kindness morphed into a clash of wills. Lily's pride clashed against David's misguided assumption that she couldn't manage on her own. "I can take care of myself, thank you very much," she snapped, feeling small yet fierce. The murmurs around them confirmed her angst. Some called it generosity, others whispered judgments of his arrogance. Before their heated exchange could escalate, the store plunged into darkness, a power outage blanketing the inside in uncertainty. Moments later, emergency lights flickered to life, illuminating panicked expressions. They shared a fleeting look, two strangers linked by an unexpected situation. As they began working together to organize community relief efforts to salvage the spoiled goods from the supermarket, the tension thawed. They laughed while rallying together, ancient cans of beans and overripe fruits, common issues pulled from society's underbelly. They saw beyond their differences, discovering their shared values of hard work, community, and family. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day waned, they found themselves reflecting on deeper issues, confronting unspoken fears surrounding money and worth. Just when it felt like a bridge was forming between their worlds, a pivotal moment shifted everything. David found himself inspired by Lily's strength and grip on her dreams of starting a small business from home, a dream long ago snuffed by life's harsh realities. Yet, pressing concerns and societal expectations hung precariously between them as David made a bold decision that could alter the course of their lives forever. Would he choose to invest in her dreams, or would their contrasting views pull them apart again? The possibilities tangled in the air, thick with hope and uncertainty, leaving lingering questions in the hearts of both. How far could this partnership take them, and would it truly mean something more? Lily wiped her forehead, feeling the weight lift ever so slightly as she and David sorted through the piles of canned goods. The atmosphere had shifted, the tension that hung in the air slowly dissipating as laughter and camaraderie replaced it. Mia, oblivious to the deeper currents running between the adults, ran around in circles, pretending to be a helicopter while making whooshing sounds. Her laughter pierced the worries that wrapped around Lily's heart, reminding her of the joys that could still shine through even in tough times. David watched Mia, a genuine smile breaking across his face. "She's got a good spirit," he remarked, his eyes bright with admiration. Lily looked at him, gauging his sincerity. The surprise at his change in demeanor caught her off guard. Just a moment ago, he seemed like a man used to getting what he wanted without a second thought. Now, as he knelt to engage with Mia, he appeared more human, more relatable. Returning to their task, they filled box after box, the initial energy binding them finally crackling into its own unique rhythm. The community in the store transformed, people working shoulder to shoulder as strangers became friends through a shared mission. It was refreshing, much like the rush of a soft breeze, and for a moment, Lily allowed herself to believe in the goodness of others, the kindness that connected them all. As the last box was stacked, David cleared his throat, bringing their focus back to the conversation they had danced around for hours. "Lily," he began slowly, "I've been thinking about what you said earlier, that you can take care of yourself. I believe you can, but I also think there's a way we could help each other." She raised an eyebrow, crossing her arms against her chest. "What do you mean?" "I want to invest in your business idea, help you get it off the ground," he said, his voice steady. "I saw the passion when you talked about it. You're not just a mother, you have dreams, and I want to support those dreams." Her heart raced not from excitement but from disbelief. A million questions crashed through her mind. Why was he interested in her? Was this just a moment of charity dressed up as an investment? "You don't even know me, David. How can you be sure this is a good idea? What if I fail?" He stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. "The only failure comes from not trying. I've spent years focusing on numbers and business deals, but I want something meaningful now. I believe in what you're capable of, Lily. And sometimes people much like you need just a little push to discover their true potential." His words sank into her, deeper than she expected. She felt a flicker of hope ignite inside her, battling with the walls she'd built around her dreams. Could she let him in? Could she trust that this was more than a whim? Or was it a rope thrown to her in the storm, a life buoy that might sink her further into dependence? Mia came rushing up to them, her energy palpable. "Can we make pancakes now? I want pirate pancakes with lots of treasure." Lily smiled, momentarily forgetting the tension as thoughts of glittering chocolate coins danced in her mind. But the moment was brief. David was still there waiting, his proposal hanging in the air like an unfinished song. Her heart ached with wanting something more than the life she had carved out in stone. Could she step into the light? Grasp this new opportunity even if it meant facing potential heartache? As the evening settled around them, she stood at the crossroads of possibility. David watched her closely, a quiet hope in his posture that made her heart flutter with inexplicable tension. Would she dare to follow this unexpected path, or would fear tether her to familiar chains? The next move felt monumental, a decision that could flip her world upside down. What would she choose? Lily stood frozen, the cacophony of Mia's laughter fading into the background as David's words echoed in her mind. This was more than just a simple offer. It felt like a lifeline thrown into the turbulent waters of her life. She looked down at her daughter, who was spinning in delight, completely unaware of the weight pressing down on her mother. The innocence in Mia's eyes struck her, making the thought of failure even more daunting. What if she took this leap and fell flat on her face? What would that mean for Mia? "Lily," David said softly, breaking through her swirling thoughts. "You can do this. Just think about it." His earnest gaze held her attention. It was different from the confident business persona she had seen before. There was a sincerity there, a genuine belief in her capabilities. It made her heart flutter, both with excitement and fear. "Okay," she finally replied, voice barely above a whisper. "I'll think about it." David smiled, and in that moment she saw the man that was more than just a businessman. He was a person willing to take a chance on her dreams. For the first time, she felt the grip of doubt start to loosen ever so slightly. Mia dashed back towards them, her face lighting up with the prospect of pancakes. "Did someone say treasure? Can we put sprinkles on them?" Lily chuckled, her heart swelling with love for her spirited daughter. The momentary distraction seemed to wipe away the heaviness settling on her shoulders. "Yes, we can do that," she said cheerfully, determined to push doubts aside, at least for tonight. She turned toward David, her resolve firming. "Let us get cooking." As the three of them moved into the kitchen, the aroma of warming batter soon filled the air, a scent that brought comfort and familiarity. Mia stood on a stool, enthusiastically mixing chocolate chips into the batter, turning the activity into a mini celebration. Lily found herself laughing at Mia's antics, the worries about the future fading into the background. With every stir of the spoon and each sprinkle of sugar, she felt lighter, as if the act of creating anything could lead her toward a greater purpose. "Think we can make these pancakes big enough to hide the treasure?" Mia asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Definitely," David replied with an easy grin. "Why not make them the biggest pancakes anyone has ever seen?" Lily exchanged a glance with him. There was a moment there, a connection woven through laughter and flour-covered hands, that made her heart beat just a little faster. But the weight of his earlier offer still loomed behind the joy of cooking. The reality of her situation pressed hard in her mind. Could she chase her dreams while still being the mother Mia deserved? As they plated the golden brown pancakes, Lily felt the warmth of possibility wrap around her. Yet the fear of taking that leap weighed just as heavily. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught David watching her, a hint of understanding in his expression. It was hard to ignore the magnetic pull that had developed between them, the way he made her feel seen and valued. Their laughter echoed in the kitchen, but in the midst of it all, her mind raced. What would this partnership really mean? Would it genuinely help, or would it complicate things further? A sudden thought broke through the jovial atmosphere, leaving a chilling trace of doubt. Could trusting him open a door to something beautiful, or was it the beginning of a painful unraveling? As Mia burst into song, her melody vibrant and innocent, Lily felt grounded in the moment yet adrift in uncertainty. Would she have the courage to fully embrace this possible future? Or would the security of her current life sabotage this invitation to grow? With the pancakes piled high and Mia's laughter filling the air, Lily took a breath and prepared to step into the unknown. But just as she was about to make a decision, the doorbell rang, slicing through the warmth of the kitchen like a sharp knife. Who could it be? Her heart raced again as she exchanged a nervous look with David. The moment had shifted, and with it, the possibilities ahead suddenly felt even more daunting. Would this visitor bring clarity, or complication? Lily stood still, her heart pounding, an unexpected tension settling over her. The doorbell rang again, a persistent reminder that life had other plans. David glanced at her, a mix of curiosity and concern etched on his face. "Should I get it?" he asked, his voice tentative. Lily nodded, biting her lip. The kitchen, once filled with laughter and warmth, now felt charged with uncertainty. Mia was still dancing around, her carefree spirit a stark contrast to the swirling doubts in her mother's mind. David moved toward the door, a steady presence in her storm of emotions. As he opened it, Lily's anxiety tightened around her like a vice. Hello, a voice rang out. It was a woman, tall with dark hair pulled into a messy bun, holding a large clipboard and looking somewhat flustered. "I'm looking for Lily Anderson? We need to discuss your rental payment." The words hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Lily felt moisture welling in her eyes. Of all times. Why now? Her mind raced back to the bills piling up, the countless nights where she had worried about making ends meet. This couldn't be happening, not today. David stepped aside, allowing the woman to enter, his expression shifting from surprise to concern as he saw the distressed look on Lily's face. Mia, in her oblivious innocence, continued her joyous song, seemingly undeterred by the sudden change in atmosphere. "Is everything okay?" David asked, his tone softening. The woman looked between them, confused. "I'm sorry to interrupt. I should have called first. I just needed to discuss overdue payments on your rent. It's not dire yet, but just give me a minute," Lily interrupted, swallowing hard. Her words felt heavy in her throat. She excused herself, stepping away from the kitchen as if the weight of her financial troubles might echo through the walls. Out of sight, aching feelings poured over her, a deluge of worry and dread. As she stood in the small hallway, trying to collect herself, she heard David speaking softly to the woman, attempting to maintain a level of concern but without judgment. That simple act tugged at her heart. It was as if he was offering her some grace amidst the chaos. Lily closed her eyes, allowing the tightness in her chest to ease slightly. She thought of Mia and the dreams she had for them both. Dropping her gaze to the floor, she felt more determined than ever. Taking a deep breath, she re-entered the kitchen. "I'll take care of it," she said, surprising even herself with the steeliness in her voice. The woman looked taken aback. "It's really nothing to worry about right now, I know, but I want to take responsibility. Let's schedule a time to discuss payment options." David's eyes widened in shared surprise and admiration. "Thank you," the woman replied, seemingly relieved. "I appreciate your willingness to work this out." As she left, a wave of exhaustion washed over Lily. How would she figure this out? Panic danced along the edges of her resolve. David stepped closer, concern etched into his handsome features. "Lily, are you okay?" he asked gently. For a moment, she hesitated, overwhelmed by fear and vulnerability. "I will be," she said, the quiver in her voice betraying her. "I just need to handle this." David remained silent but offered a reassuring smile. Then, Mia burst into the room, her eyes full of mischief. "Can we have a pancake race now?" she exclaimed, instantly brightening the mood. Lily couldn't help but smile back at her daughter's enthusiasm, feeling a flicker of normalcy returning. "Yes. Pancake race, let us go," David encouraged, plunging back into the lightheartedness as though the earlier tension didn't exist. As they prepared again, Lily felt a sense of clarity wash over her. Partitioning her fears for the moment to cherish the laughter and connection they were sharing. But lurking beneath the joy was still the reality of those issues. And just as laughter erupted, the doorbell rang a third time, echoing through the home again. Lily froze, her heart racing. What now? Could the visitor bring another complication for her growing list, or perhaps an unexpected chance to alter her path? The uncertainty loomed again, and she felt the pull of dreams fighting against the gravity of her fears. Who stood on the other side of that door, ready to change everything? Lily's breath caught in her throat, a mix of anxiety and dread pooling in her stomach. The doorbell's chime had a siren-like quality. It brought with it memories of late payments and desperate calls, a constant reminder of her worries. She shot a glance at David, who was already averting his gaze toward the door, eyebrows knitted together in concern. "Do you want me to get it?" David asked again, the softness in his voice laced with caution. Lily hesitated, caught between her fear and a flicker of hope that maybe the visitor could bring news that would solve everything. I'll check," she said, her voice quivering despite her effort to sound steady. She took slow, measured steps to the door. Every beat of her heart echoed in her ears as she grasped the handle. What if it was more bad news? Wasn't it enough to deal with one crisis at a time? Opening the door felt like unveiling a secret she wasn't ready to face. As she pulled the door open, her breath hitched. Standing there was a man, tall and broad-shouldered, his shirt sleeves rolled up, showing tanned forearms. He had an air of confidence, his warm hazel eyes scanning her face and settling on her with a mix of curiosity and concern. "Hi," he said, flashing a genuine smile that felt oddly comforting. "I'm sorry to disturb you again." Before she could respond, he continued, "I'm here on behalf of the landlord. I heard about your situation, and I just wanted to help." Her chest tightened. "Help? How?" she asked, astonished that someone would offer genuine assistance when her life felt so heavy. The man took a step closer, lowering his voice slightly. "I know managing rent can be tough. I've been in your shoes before, and if you need time or want some options, like a payment plan, I think we can work something out." Lily felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Part of her wanted to cry, relief washing over her. Yet the other part wanted to retreat. Why was he being so nice? "I appreciate it, but what's the catch?" He chuckled softly, a sound that filled the space around them. No catch. Just kindness. He introduced himself as Ethan, extending a hand. I'm here to connect everyone, make sure people feel heard. She hesitated but shook his hand, and in that moment, warmth flooded through her. Thank you, Ethan. I didn't expect just doing my part, he interrupted, evident sincerity in his eyes. We all go through tough times. Besides, it's important that Mia has a secure home. Her heart ached at the mention of her daughter. It was as if he understood the underlying depths of her struggle without her needing to articulate every fear. She nodded, gathering herself. I want to make it work. For her. David had been watching quietly, but the fading warmth in the kitchen began to return. He stepped forward to join them, his expression shifting as he listened to their conversation. Mia's great, by the way, Ethan added lightly, as though he were trying to make small talk. I see her out dancing around. She's got energy I envy. Lily couldn't help but smile. She's a handful, but she's everything to me. As the two men talked basketball stats and local happenings, she found herself lost in the moment. It felt unreal, this kindness in a world that had felt so cold and unyielding. Yet beneath the surface of her joy, doubt gnawed at her. Was this truly a lifeline, or was it just a fleeting moment of goodwill? Suddenly, laughter erupted from Mia, echoing through the air like music, pulling everyone's attention back to the kitchen. Pancake race! She cried, her tiny voice filled with glee, and for a moment, all worries seemed to dissolve. Let us do it! David exclaimed, ruffling Mia's hair, and Lily watched them, a smile breaking across her face despite her internal struggles. But just as she was about to join in their excitement, her phone buzzed with a notification. Her breath hitched again as she saw the name flashing on the screen, a reminder of the payment deadline approaching. A reminder of reality. Could she really navigate this, with the burden of her responsibilities weighing down so heavily? Lily hesitated, caught in a whirlwind of feelings, hope, anxiety, potential. And behind that hopeful smile still lingered a shadow. Was she strong enough to face whatever came next? The door stood ajar behind her, the lingering promise of a brighter future balanced precariously on the edge of uncertainty. Just as she thought about returning to the laughter, the doorbell rang once more, a sharp reminder that life was not yet done with surprises. Who else was on the other side? What more could change today? Lily's heart raced as she held her breath, staring at the door. Could it be another potential lifeline, or something that would pull her back into the depths of despair? She glanced at David, who wore a look of shared concern that mirrored her own. Do you want me to get it this time? He offered, his voice barely above a whisper. No, she started, but before she could finish, her hand was already reaching for the door again. With a steadying breath, she swung the door open. In front of her stood an elderly woman, hunched slightly and wrapped in a knitted shawl. Her silver hair was tied back, but wisps framed her kind, wrinkled face. The woman held a basket, filled with an assortment of baked goods, from cookies to pie slices. Hello, dear, she said, her voice warm like a summer afternoon. I'm Mrs. Baker from next door. I brought some treats for Mia. Lily blinked in surprise. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Just a little something to brighten your kitchen. She smiled, and Lily could see the wisdom in her eyes, a depth of understanding that came with experience. The faint aroma of cinnamon and sugar wafted in, somehow wrapping around her like a hug. As the woman handed her the basket, Lily felt a wave of gratitude. I really appreciate this. It means more than you know. Just then, Mia appeared, face glowing with delight at the sight of the treats. Cookies! She squealed, bounding over with uncontained joy. See? They're fresh from the oven, Mrs. Baker said with a delighted chuckle. Lily watched her daughter bask in the moment, heart swelling. It was these small gestures of kindness, ones she often overlooked, that reminded her of the good still left in the world. As they chatted, David stepped into view, his expression softening as he took in the scene. Looks like Mia has a new fan, he teased, winking at the elderly woman. Ah, yes. She has the future. Kids like her bring happiness, you know? Mrs. Baker replied, her gaze steady on Mia. Lily soaked in the warmth, chuckling alongside them. A moment of reprieve washed over her, as if the burden she carried had lightened, if only for a heartbeat. But even as laughter filled the space, the notification on her phone lingered in her mind, an uninvited shadow creeping back into the light. Just as she was about to dismiss those worries, the distant sound of sirens pierced the air, pulling her back into the harsh reality outside her door. They were a reminder that trouble was never far away, lurking like a storm cloud. Maybe it always would be. "Do you need any help, dear?" Mrs. Baker asked, her voice softening. "I've seen that look before." "If there's anything I can do, no, it's fine," Lily said a little too quickly. "Honestly, we're okay." But a part of her wondered if asking for help would mean she was weak. Was she strength in handling everything alone? As the conversation shifted back to silly jokes and dessert stories, she tried to push that doubt aside, wanting to remain in this fragile moment of happiness. Yet the sirens echoed in her mind, reminding her that this wasn't over. After a while, Mrs. Baker took her leave, waving gently as she ambled back down the steps. Lily felt a pang of longing as she closed the door, wishing for the warmth to linger. David wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "You all right?" he asked, his voice steady. "I'm fine, just feeling overwhelmed," she confessed, her heart heavy with all the things left unsaid. "And worried about the deadline?" he pressed gently. Lily nodded. How could she explain that the thought of her responsibilities felt like quicksand, dragging her deeper? But before she could respond, there was another knock on the door. Loud and firm this time. "What now?" David mumbled, frowning. Her heart trembled as they exchanged glances. "Maybe it's the landlord," she said, half hoping it was good news, half fearing the worst. As they walked toward the door, Lily felt a cocktail of emotions bubbling inside: excitement, dread, hope. What would they find on the other side this time? Would it be a door opening to new possibilities, or yet another obstacle in their path? The weight of anticipation pressed down on her as David reached for the handle, bracing for what lay ahead. And just like that, with the door poised to swing open, everything changed once more. David pulled the door open slowly, and finding no one on the porch was both a relief and a letdown. It felt like opening a beautifully wrapped gift only to find it empty. As they both stood there, uncertainty hanging in the air, Lily could feel the anticipation drain from her veins. "Just a trick of the wind, I guess," David muttered, forcing a smile. But before Lily could respond, she caught a glimpse of something on the ground by the steps. It was a small envelope, slightly crumpled but obviously placed there intentionally. Curiosity flickered in her chest, battling with the apprehension that had returned as quickly as it vanished. "Hold on," she said, leaning down to pick it up. The feel of the paper in her fingers sent a jolt through her. It was addressed to her, in neat, looping handwriting that sent shivers down her spine. "Lily?" David's voice snapped her back. "What is it?" She didn't answer immediately, turning the envelope in her hands. Her name was inscribed with elegance, but she noted the lack of a return address. "Just something I found on the steps," she finally managed to say, her voice low as if she were sharing a secret. "Open it," Mia chirped, her small hands reaching up to tug at her mother's arm. Lily hesitated. What if it was another reminder of the challenges they faced? But part of her was drawn to the unknown, the mystery of it all. After a moment of silent deliberation, she decided she owed it to herself to at least check. With shaking hands, she tore the envelope open and pulled out a folded piece of paper. As she unfolded it, words spilled out like a gentle tide. "Dear Lily, I hope this note finds you in good spirits. I am aware of your recent struggles, and it pains me to see someone so resilient facing such challenges. I would like to offer my assistance not just as a neighbor, but as a friend. Meet me at the cafe on Main Street tomorrow at 10 a.m. I believe we could speak about options, and I may have a solution for you. Yours truly, a friend." Lily blinked, reading it again, her heart racing. David leaned closer, reading over her shoulder. "Who sent this?" he asked, trying to decipher the tone. "I have no idea," she muttered, her mind whirling. A friend? Was it a stroke of luck or a prank? Either way, the promise of help flickered like a candle flame in her chest. Mama? Mia's innocent voice pulled her back. Can we get cookies? As if on cue, the warmth of Mrs. Baker's treats tugged at Lily's heartstrings. She tucked the note safely away, but her thoughts were already darting between hope and fear. What if this was a chance she couldn't afford to waste? Sure, sweetheart, she said softly, her resolve growing. But let us find out what our friend wants first. David nodded in approval, the clouds of worry lifting slightly from his features. They headed for the kitchen, Mia chattering excitedly about cookies as the sunlight streamed through the windows, filling the space with a golden glow. But even as they moved through the motions of the day, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that this coffee meeting would be more than just a discussion. It might be a pivotal moment in her life. As the seconds ticked down to tomorrow, anticipation settled in her stomach alongside anxiety. What awaited her in that meeting? A lifeline? Or a bitter reminder of what was lost? Tomorrow would bring clarity, but tonight, uncertainty loomed large, casting a long shadow over her heart. With one last glance at the slip of paper, she tucked it back into her pocket, knowing that whatever happened next would set the course for them all. She wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, this time it could be different. The morning sunlight filtered through the kitchen window, illuminating the space with a soft glow. Lily watched as Mia bopped around the room, her laughter ringing like music. But the joy was a thin layer covering the whirlpool of thoughts in Lily's mind. She tapped the counter nervously, each tap echoing the dread and hope that coiled within her. Mommy! Can I help? Mia's bright eyes sparkled with excitement as she climbed onto a chair, reaching for a plate. Of course, sweetheart, Lily said, her smile slightly wavering. She handed Mia a small plate of freshly baked cookies Mrs. Baker had surprised them with. A wave of warmth washed over her, but it was quickly tempered by the impending meeting looming in her mind. What do you think this friend wants to talk about? David questioned, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed. His expression was a blend of curiosity and caution, as if he were bracing himself for the worst. I don't know, Lily admitted, keeping her voice steady. But I have to find out. What if it's something good? What if it's someone pulling your leg? You've already been through enough, Lily. His brow furrowed, concern etched across his face. David was right. Life had not been easy, and the specter of disappointment was a familiar one. But the thought of what a helper might mean ignited a fragile flicker of hope in her heart. She felt the envelope in her pocket again, its weight grounding her. Mia, how about you help me pick out a pretty dress for tomorrow? Yay! I love dress up. Mia squealed, her little feet almost bouncing off the ground. With Mia leading the way to her bedroom, Lily felt a bit of the tension give way. She watched her daughter pull open the closet door, revealing a spectrum of colors and styles, each dress telling a story. How about this one? Mia held up a pale pink dress adorned with tiny white flowers. Perfect, my little stylist, Lily said, smoothing the fabric. The dressing game would only be a temporary distraction, though. Her mind continued to spin with every tick of the clock. As they picked out accessories, a headband here, a pair of sparkly shoes there, Lily also dug deeper into herself, reflecting on her choices. Was accepting help a sign of weakness? Or could it lead to a powerful transformation? As the afternoon wore on and the sun began to dip toward the horizon, a sudden thought struck her. What if the meeting was more than just a conversation, but a lifeline she so desperately needed? After all, wasn't every journey born from a single step forward? That night, after Mia was tucked into bed and the house settled into an eerie calm, Lily found herself wandering back to the kitchen. She wrote down her thoughts. Hopes and fears spilled onto the paper as the soft clatter of her fingers against the keyboard of her laptop filled the silence. A lifetime of dreams and disappointments poured out in the form of an email. She needed to prepare for what lay ahead. But as she formatted her last sentence, her phone buzzed violently on the table, bringing her heart to a standstill. She picked it up and saw a message from an unknown number. Lily, it's time to talk. Meet me at the cafe earlier than planned. 9 a.m. You won't regret it. Her heart raced. Why 10 a.m. had turned to 9? Was it urgency? Or something more foreboding? As anxiety crept into her chest, she looked out through the kitchen window. A shadow danced on the porch. The uncertainty and fear twisted together. Something was happening. Something that could change everything. Would she run toward it or flee? Tomorrow was going to test her more than she ever imagined. Lily barely slept that night, her dreams punctuated by the haunting shadow on the porch and that cryptic message. Morning broke with an orange and pink sky, but even the beauty of dawn felt distant. The unease laced with hope now coiled tighter in her stomach. She slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Mia, who still lay in a peaceful slumber. Moving through the house, each creak of the floorboards was amplified in the silence. As Lily brewed a pot of coffee, the familiar aroma filled the air, offering her a brief respite. This routine was her anchor, yet it felt inadequate against the tidal wave of uncertainty she faced. As she sipped the hot coffee, she stared out the window, trying to swallow the mounting anxiety. She'd arranged so much over the past few days: finances, Mia's school, everything else that might crumble if she didn't stay on top of it all. But now, the weight of that envelope was heavier than ever in her pocket. "Mommy?" Mia's voice floated in, breaking the silence and grounding Lily. "Good morning, my little sunshine," Lily replied, forcing cheerfulness into her voice as she turned to face her daughter, who rubbed sleepy eyes. Mia's face, still puffy from sleep, filled Lily with warmth. "Is today a dress-up day?" "Absolutely. We're going for a big adventure," she said, knowing her own heart was about to embark on an uncharted journey. As they prepared, Lily's thoughts drifted back to the cafe. Who was this stranger? What did they want to tell her? Was she ready to hear it? Dressing Mia in the pale pink flowered dress had been a joy, and for a moment, they were just a mother and daughter celebrating life together. But when Lily looked in the mirror, all she could see was a woman already chipped and weathered by the trials she'd faced. The clock ticked closer to 9, each second feeling heavier than the last. "Are you ready, Mommy?" "Yes, sweetie." "Let us go," she replied, grabbing her purse and the envelope. She could feel its edges pressing against her fingers like a heartbeat. The drive to the cafe was filled with Mia's chatter about butterflies and fairy tales, but even her daughter's sweet voice couldn't drown out the thoughts spiraling in Lily's head. She parked, took a deep breath, and looked at herself in the rearview mirror. "You can do this." Mia grabbed her hand as they walked into the cafe, the smell of fresh coffee and baked goods swirling around them like a welcoming hug. The place was filled with patrons absorbed in their conversations and meals, a warm and lively atmosphere that made the world feel normal again if only for a moment. But as Lily scanned the sea of faces, her breath caught in her throat. "There!" Mia exclaimed, pointing to a man sitting at a corner table. He was tall, with dark hair and an intense gaze that made her heart race. "Do you know him?" Mia asked, wide-eyed and hopeful. Lily shook her head, then guided her daughter with a gentle squeeze of her hand. With every step towards him, her mind raced. Was this the lifeline she was hoping for? Or the mirror that would reflect her deepest fears? When she finally reached the table, the man looked up and smiled, the warmth in his eyes immediately putting her at ease. But then he spoke, and everything shifted. "Thank you for coming, Lily," he said, his voice steady but urgent. "We need to talk about Mia." The ground seemed to shift beneath her, and she felt the walls of her world close in. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Little did she know, the answers he was about to reveal would challenge everything she believed about her life and the lengths she would go to protect her daughter. As the words hung in the air, a terrible realization began to dawn: some truths are far harder to face than the external storms of life. Lily's heart raced, echoing in her ears as she stared at the stranger. His statement felt like cold water thrown in her face, jolting her from the warmth of the cafe and grounding her in a harsh reality. "Mia?" Her voice cracked, the warmth of hope evaporating like steam from the coffee cups surrounding them. "What about her?" The man leaned in, holding her gaze with a sincerity that felt both intimidating and reassuring. "I care for the well-being of children. I've been watching over her," Watching over? Who are you? Panic clawed its way up her throat, but beneath it all, a flicker of confusion ignited. I'm Nathan, he said quietly, his voice somehow calming the chaotic storm within her. And I'm part of a community outreach. We provide support for families in need. Not just financial aid but broader assistance. Lily's mind spiraled. Why are you bringing this up now? She asked. Fine. I take care of her. The words spilled out, a mix of defensive anger and fear, yet she couldn't escape the swamp of dread that was slowly consuming her. I know you do, but it's my responsibility to ensure that families like yours have the resources they need to thrive, he replied. I just want to help you navigate these challenges. She glanced towards Mia, seated at a nearby table pretending to be a princess. The sorrow of uncertainty gnawed at her, pulling her back into the past memories of worry and sleepless nights. What resources? I'm already drowning, Lily whispered, her voice thick with emotion, the fear of losing Mia intermingling with the walls she had built around her heart. Nathan's expression softened. We can help. It might look different from what you expect, but I believe you deserve a chance at stability, maybe even something more. Lily's chest tightened. Could she allow herself to consider this? Could she trust this stranger with her life? Her eyes darted to Mia as if searching for answers in her innocence. A fleeting pause enveloped them, heavy yet filled with potential. What do you mean by something more? She asked. Your dreams, your bakery idea for one. You mentioned it in passing. Lily's breath itched. In the whirlwind of survival, she had buried that dream far beneath layers of duty and fear. Why would you care about that? Because I saw your strength. You can reach beyond just surviving, Lily. Let me guide you. A hush descended. The clinking of cutlery fell away, leaving the weight of her choices thick in the air. Was this the lifeline she sought? Hope rushed in like a surging tide. And Mia? What does this mean for her? He reached into his bag and pulled out a brochure, handing it to her. This outlines assistance we can offer not just for funding but community support, mentorship programs, parenting workshops. We're dedicated to ensuring you both thrive. Staring at the brochure, her hands trembled with uncertainty. I'll think about it. Nathan nodded, his warmth unwavering. I hope you do. You both deserve it. As he stood to leave, she swallowed hard, battling an internal struggle. Can I ask one more thing? Of course. Do you really think I'm capable of more? He paused, his gaze piercing through the fog of her doubts. You never needed to doubt your ability. You are a fighter and fierce. The certainty in his voice struck her like lightning. In that moment, the past flickered before her, late nights by the kitchen table, the weight of uncertainty bearing down on her, and yet, the love for Mia had always propelled her forward. With a deep breath, she muttered, I'll meet you to discuss it. Nathan smiled, an approval that seemed to surge with gentle warmth. As he walked away, hope began pushing against the shadows lingering around her. She turned back to Mia, who stood with her hands on her hips, striking a silly pose dressed as the fiercest princess. The innocence of childhood washed over Lily, a reminder of why she had to fight for her dreams, their dreams. Later that evening, as they cooked dinner together, laughter filled their little home. It felt surreal, vibrant, not just a distraction from worry, but a reminder that even in challenges lay potential. As Mia recounted a hilarious story about a pirate princess, Lily's heart swelled. Perhaps Nathan had been right, perhaps this was her moment. The next day, she arrived at the community center, the scent of fresh cookies wrapping around her as she stepped inside. The people, fully engaged, felt like a family embracing struggles, dreams, and a shared journey. Lily took a deep breath, and for the first time, she felt reinforced life surrounding her. Those moments of vulnerability, the connections formed, they paved the way for healing. By the end of the month, the bakery idea had turned from a fleeting thought to a passionate project alongside new acquaintances and supporters. As they planned together, the laughter and dedication infused her spirit with the kind of energy she thought might be lost. Lily looked around, her heart bursting with gratitude. Community, strength, dreams, these were the things worth fighting for. and amidst the chaos of life, they had become her anchor through every storm. As the first batch of goods turned golden brown, she realized her journey had transformed. What began as need grew into an empowering opportunity. As she served the baked goods alongside Mia, she smiled at the faces beaming back, warmth flooding her heart. Lily realized dreams were not just for picturesque worlds. They were forged through challenges. She had been afraid to ask for help, but now she saw that reaching out didn't mean she was weak. It meant she was human. And just like that, amid laughter, love, and resilience, a story that once seemed steeped in struggle blossomed into the promise of hope. "Mommy, these are the best cookies!" Mia exclaimed, her joy echoing in the air. "Every cookie tells a story, sweet girl," Lily whispered, "and this one's ours." With every passing day, she embraced the unknown, proud and determined. They were moving forward together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever would come next. Before you go, make sure to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Your engagement makes a difference. Comment below your thoughts, feelings, or even share your own dreams. I want to hear your stories. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through your actions. Let us spread the love and inspiration.